There's no crying in baseball. There, I said the thing. Let's talk about A League of Their Own. So, first of all, like flat out, this is really good. Secondly, it kind of irritates me that this failed to generate the same level of fervor as Our Flag Means Death. And I know that seems like a weird comparison, but this is a baseball show to the same degree that Our Flag Means Death is a show about pirates. Yes, that's there, but it's really about being really super gay. And like, it's better to just assume that pretty much every character is gay until proven otherwise. So, everyone I've talked to who's seen this, and like I was pushed to watch this by my partner Liz, who jumped on this much quicker than I did. But like everyone really seems to like it, but I want this to get another season because it's really good and it's really gay. And before people start going like, SJW agenda, not that like comments on my videos that are like that would be allowed to stay up because they tend to be abusive and personal attackish, and I get rid of that stuff. But my point is that what this ultimately decides to focus on are two aspects of women's baseball in the 1940s that the film A League of Their Own couldn't focus on. Because League of Their Own, the film, is much more about the game. And it is also about the women who play it. But there is a much greater focus on the game itself. Here, the game is there. They do play, but that is not the focus. The focus is on how many of these women were gay or bi, and that, from some accounts at least, is borne out by reality. There's been at least one surviving member of the All-American League who was asked her thoughts on this, and she absolutely loved it because this was stuff that went on a lot, and it wasn't allowed to be shown when the film was made in the 90s. The other thing that the film technically showed, but then immediately brushed past, is black women. Because if you know A League of Their Own very well, and I do, I actually really like it. It's about the only sports movie I do deeply love. There is a brief moment where some black women show up and get turned away. And that's it. That's it in the movie. Here, the story of the black women and the black community is maybe not half, but like a third at least of the entire story of this thing. And it's really good. Actually, it's got some of my favorite characters in it. Like, almost all the characters are great. Whether we get a ton of time with them, like Carson, like Greta, like Joe, and like Maxine and Clance. Clance is my favorite. I'll put that out there. Clance is the best. And also what's really nice about Max and Clance is that with all of the gayness going on in the show, there's a lot of gayness in this show, and I'm here for it, but I really love that Clance and Max's relationship is a platonic friendship between two women. And it's an amazing friendship. It's an amazing connection. They love each other platonically, but they do love each other, and it's great. And there's just such a joy to a lot of it. And like, I was touched by the end. I don't want to give spoilers. Not that this, like most sports kind of shows, I'm not sure, unless they do some very unexpected things, I don't think can be spoiled all that much. It's sports. Either they win or they lose any given game. But there is a bit that happens towards the end in the final episode, and I think if you've seen it, you'll know what bit it was. But there's just a moment that puts the emphasis on the connection and the camaraderie and how much these women care about each other, platonically, romantically, whatever it may be. They care about each other a lot. And I did choke up a little bit. If you've seen the show, you probably know what moment I'm talking about. It's great. And I was not expecting it. It caught me off guard. I was like, Yeah, I'm a big softie these days. What can I say? And like I said, all the performances are good. Almost all the characters are good. I do have a couple of like little things about, well, couple of little things and one slightly more than little thing that are holding this back slightly. The first is there is one character who I'm kind of back and forth on, and there's one character who I flatly don't like. So there's the character of Dove, who's played by Nick Offerman. And I'm going back and forth on this because my gut instinct is to say this is not a particularly effective use of Nick Offerman. Like, given how much the guy actually is featured in the thing, it feels like, you kind of wasted that. You wasted that casting. But there's another part of me that goes like, if you had cast anyone who wasn't Nick Offerman, the character would have been a little bit like, well, why do we even bother with you? So like he brings enough presence that the character matters, but it still feels like an underutilization of an asset for how much he actually ultimately appears in the thing. But then there's the character of Shirley. I really can't stand Shirley. And actually, I don't just dislike Shirley, but I also dislike the specific culmination of character traits and role in the story. So Shirley is, by design, annoying, neurotic, superstitious, pretty heavily neurodivergent coded, which is another source of annoyance for me because, like, I don't love that the single most annoying, irritating character who I kind of can't stand is the neurodivergent coded one. I don't like that you got me to kind of hate this character. And then on top of that, she ends up being the closest thing to a closed-minded bigot in regards to queerness among them. So it's like they just poured every negative trait that could have been spread out amongst other characters into her. And yeah, I don't like her. Don't like her at all. I think they just overcooked that a little bit. Like it was too many things working against her. Some of those things needed to be dialed back or distributed to some other characters or something. But other than that, like all the players, I like Joe in particular. I liked the Spanish speaking characters. I thought that was a really cool thing to bring attention to as well. Max's uncle, Birdie. Oh, he's amazing. I love him. And what I especially love about, characters like him and with all the queerness going on, it doesn't sugarcoat how dangerous this was. Both in terms of the raw logistics of if you get caught, you can lose everything. You can go to jail. Cops can beat the ever-loving crap out of you if they find you in the wrong place. And there's stuff like that, but at the same time, even beyond that, even the threat of that, you see how it impacts some of these people. You see how they've put up walls to keep themselves safe because the danger is very real. And it's really well balanced. I suppose if I was going to make, I almost forgot like my more persistent complaint. So this is really only a big problem in the middle stretch because the last couple episodes don't have this too much, nor do the first couple. But in the middle, there's something that actually bothered me a lot. And that is that apparently they made the decision that they were going to handle the lighting as naturalistically as possible. And they weren't going to have any light sources that weren't what would have been there at the time. So like, if two characters are in a room at night, it clearly hasn't been lit, or at least it is set up in a way that makes it look like it has not been lit by, on-set stage lighting, but instead it's just the weak-ass 1940s bedside lamp. So there's stuff like that, or when they're in a nightclub, or when they do some stuff on the field at night, like for practice or whatnot, that flatly I couldn't see a goddamn thing. I couldn't see what was happening. And it drove me up the wall for how persistent it was through the middle stretch of the show. Because like I said, it gets better at the end, and it's not too bad at the beginning. But there's a lot in the middle where like it seems like it's all these night scenes, these characters meeting at night, going to a nightclub, these night time practices or what have you. And I'm just like, I can't see. Like I need. It's about as bad as I remember it being when that Game of Thrones episode from season 8 where like everyone complained they couldn't see what was going on. And it's the same fundamental thing. Some of these shows are being shot in a way that would be fine if it was being shown in a theater where the only light source in the room is what's on the screen. But I'm watching this in a living room during the day, and it has windows, and there's other light sources that I can't freaking see. Maybe if I had like a significantly more expensive television than I currently do, or if I sat my ass down and watched it at my computer with my good monitor, maybe I could see better, but I shouldn't have to do that. Suboptimal. That irritated me. It really did. Because I want to see what's going on. I like the show. If you filmmakers, showrunners, if the decision is this would look closer to natural lighting or this enables people to actually see, do the thing that lets people actually see. I'm not going to complain about being able to see. Ever. Hey, sorry. This is far from the only show that does this kind of stuff and drives me nuts, but like it really irked me because this was not a show I was expecting it to be a problem with. So there you go. But that rant now out of me. This show's great. It's wonderful, and you don't have to be a baseball fan. Like I said, this is much less about the game. There's significantly less that happens showing the games, and the spread of characters and just how well they are performed and getting a sense of who they are. And even like little things, like there's Carson who, you know, has a lot going on, and at moments like it could be a little tough for me because she gets embarrassed and flustered and edged right up close to being in the cringe area. Didn't really step over it, thankfully. But like her husband Charlie, who shows up, the easy, lazy way to write that would have been to have everything be wrong about their connection and their relationship, but it's not. Like things are clearly needing work, and there's some issues, and definitely some people are keeping things from each other, but like he's a fundamentally decent guy and he's trying. And you also get glimpses of the connection between him and Carson, and you see like, oh, that's what this marriage is built on. And there's a lot of little moments like that that are really well placed across it. And so many of these couples are so goddamn cute. And so many of these characters and these women are amazing and gorgeous, and it's a wonderful variety of people from different backgrounds, different body shapes, different ambitions and desires for their lives. It's just a really good show. A League of Their Own. Did you see it? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon's what pays the bills and enables me to do things like have Amazon Prime and get to watch this show. But even if you can't do that, like, share, subscribe. They also help me out. So if you can assist me that way, I would greatly appreciate it. But even if you can't, don't worry too much about it. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can come on back next time you need a break. Time to give my thanks to my highest supporting patrons. That would include Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfullah, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Oliver B., Melinda Walters, Emu Delkey, Theotha Boyd, Becky Sparks, Fernabi Likes the Poodle, Zach, Idolin, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Adam RDL Taylor, Shane Ross, Shaylee Gourlay, Brendan LaRose, and TT. If you want your name said while these guys try and distract me,
consider looking at the rewards on my Patreon.